who's more, the guru relationship coach?
Why I gotta be the guru?
I'm framing. I'm setting you up.
Oh, yeah, damn.
But no, like, who's really more emotional, men or women?
So more is subjective. So I think define. Give me context.
So real quick, I'll
give me context.
lay it out there a little bit. So I feel like the common narrative
is
from
women.
men and women as women, but I often accept and understand women be like, what? Men are more emotional. Men will fucking kill you. Men will do this and this and that, whatever. And I recently came across a story where a dude fucking killed himself and killed the wife, and it was a whole crazy thing, whatever. And I saw another post where a woman said like, men always try to throw in your face saying if there were no men in the world who protect you, and she's like, protect us from what though? And the whole
from themselves.
Well, the theory that what they were imply is that oftentimes women need protection from men though.
No.
And really not from, of course, women are catty, want to do selfish things and hate each other, whatever. But oftentimes women aren't inflicting these type of heinous type acts and crimes on each other. It's more so men doing it to men and women.
All right, so let's say this, right, to unpack a lot. When I was saying no, I'm not saying everything you're saying is like nullified and void. I was just saying like that one particular part, but I'll elaborate, so I didn't mean to interject. But as far as then being more, so I'm definitely still
being able to do that shit is emotional.
So I'm gonna definitely say that women are still more emotional than men.
Okay.
But I think that because men tend to hold in their emotions for so long, when they lash out, it's more dramatic. Women have a bunch of little emotional moments. Men
More
have
frequent.
one dramatic outburst. So if you gauge them, it's like more is them. Worse might be men. Now that's not to say that a woman can't, but like you said, because women can lash out, but when men finally do let loose, it's not good. So I'll give it that. I'm still saying that all day, every day, a woman is operating in that space of emotion, whether it's happy. Emotion is just not anger.
Of course.
Emotion, men can be monotone for and it's just, I'm just here, I'm just neutral. Whereas though it's always some type of emotional reaction response, whether it's good or bad. People tend to make emotion seem bad, but emotion just means energy and motion. So it's not something that can be stabilized. We feel, but because we have the ability to rationalize, we can put our emotions to the side. They unfortunately don't have that ability or that capacity to do so. Not that that's a slight.
They don't?
That's just biologically, not psychologically and biologically, just not what it is. This isn't a guru speaking. This is just what the statistics and the facts will show. But I feel like what a man, not my research. Let me just say that.
Shout out to Sean on the other episode. He's like, women are genetically modified.
Yeah, he's a good term. I don't know what the term was.
Genetically to psychology.
But it was a great term that I wish I knew. I could have
tear men ego apart. I'm like, oh.
That was a great term.
Encyclopedia?
But as far as to the capacity in which men can go, I think it's because they feel so disrespected. You got to understand, men are accountable people in a sense of feeling like you have to pay for what you do. And you have to be paid in a sense for what you, it's like either way. So it's like, with that being the case, it's like if you disrespect a man to a certain capacity, he will harm you because that's his way of holding you accountable. Having poor conflict resolution. I'm not saying it's okay, but I'm just telling you that's when.
And we familiar with those stakes.
But regardless, that don't got to be an emotion. Sometimes shit just have to get done. It don't got to be, that's not always an emotion. Like men harming men ain't always emotional. I've slapped people and done things not because I was being emotional, but because it had to be done. And I'm not saying violence is okay, but I'm just saying that's the reality of it. I wasn't like, oh, I'm pissed, let me react off my emotion. No. So I can't give it that. Sometimes it makes sense to the man to do that in his own twisted thoughts and theory. That don't mean he's emotional. It just seems like that because that's how it's interpreted. Oh, he had to be enraged and angry. No, he could have sat down and be like, man, this motherfucker really super disrespecting me. There's no way other to go about this than to do X, Y, and Z. Again, I'm not advocating. I advocate against it. But because you posed the question, I want to break it down. So I feel like when they say, who do we need to be protected from? A lot of the times, women think that protection is just physical, but protection is everything that's not physical. It's only probably 5% physical because how many times do they even find themselves in an altercation involving physicality, right? So let's look at it like that. But a man's presence naturally can prevent a physical altercation. Because if a man thought about harming a woman and he found out she has a man in her life, a brother, a father, a boyfriend, a husband, a son, his intentions change. So I don't want to go through that because why? Because you're going to be held accountable. You understand what I'm saying? So when they say, oh, we'll need protection from what? They don't understand that there's certain boundaries that they don't even set that get violated on the day-to-day. You go get an oil change, they telling you double the price. You need brakes, they telling you more. You need to do this. You can't even walk in a store without a man messing with you. Now I know that goes to your point of saying, well, protection from who? But that's just one point. Now let's go to the other side of it. Protection from their own overthinking. When they can't find solutions, when they gotta cry before they come to the terms of this is what needs to be done, and all of these things that a man could just cut to the corner and get it done. So it's not just physical protection, it's mental protection too, because if you can't figure it out, who are you going to call? A man to figure it out. So I think that, and in reverse, how I think women protect men,
of course,
women should protect a man's ego. Instead of trying to strip it, a woman should understand what a man is insecure about and not use that against him, but instead feed into what makes him feel empowered, because the better he becomes, the better he can be for you. So instead of saying about the man being this and angry and this and that, think about how can you extract the good out of them. See, because that's the maternity factor that mothers do, for which is why a lot of men be mama's boys, because they can lean on their mom to feel empowered. For the moms that are doing that, you know, some moms be on what they on, but for the moms that actually make their sons feel like kings, they look for that nurturing love, not for it to be like take care of me like my mom did, but it's just my mom is the only person that has ever made me feel like a man, even when I wasn't on my shit. So a woman can protect a man's ego. Another thing, a man can guard the front door, threats. A woman got to guard the back door, the people that's trying to come and infiltrate and fuck up what he building. So it's like a nigga might want to tear you down by going at your chick. If she's not a strong-minded individual, she's 50% of everything you're doing, and she's responsible for the other half of your life. If a motherfucker infiltrate that, they destroy half of your foundation, which will in turn make the other half crumble. So a woman has to be strong enough to understand that it's going to be people that prey on the downfall of my man through me. And I got to be mentally strong enough to be able to withstand and stay loyal to the bigger picture. I'm not going to say stay loyal to a man. Stay loyal to the bigger picture, what the kids need, what the family need, and just being like that. So the protection is due on both ends.
Yeah, what about when bitches infiltrate on the man
That's
side?
a good question. So I think that a woman infiltrating would be how? Give me context before I even speak my perspective.
Sucking his dick.
I'm not going to say that that's infiltration, but I'm not saying that that's okay. No, I'm not going, because when I think of infiltration, right? I think of being able to take away from. So if a man getting his dick sucked means he's no longer being present for his family, that's 100% infiltration. That's what I'm saying. Like I would impose the same thing. Like, oh, what if she just suck a dick? I'm not gonna say that man infiltrated, but I will say there will be collateral damage to the relationship on either end. So I wrote a book saying cheating is not cheating, not to justify one side or the other. I think, but that don't mean what I think don't matter. It's what's going to happen. In most cases, a woman is not just going to go suck a dick. So that's what makes it different. But if she just did say, oh, I'm going to go suck a dick, and that's what she decided to do, and then it's not really nothing other than that. I mean, I would say that it's different in how it's perceived, but the act is the same. Both parties are doing the same thing.
I see what you mean. I say words mean things. I see how you're saying may not be infiltration.
Yeah, I'm not saying, but I can see how infiltration of a man is anytime he's distracted from handling his manly responsibilities for his family. I'm not a nigga that's about to sit here and say that men are monogamous. I don't believe it to be. I don't care what the people on the internet say or how they feel. I feel like monogamy is a choice. Some men choose it, some men don't. And with that being the case, if a man has because you gotta look at it like this, right? Let's really unpack, right? You gotta understand it like this. I don't believe women to feel like men sleeping around is a true issue. I feel like the way that they perceive it is that whatever you give, they lose. So it's more of a you giving yourself to her, so I'm losing a piece of you, more than I actually think they give a fuck about the act. Because if you think about it, men that are in other religions have multiple wives, and they have multiple duties and multiple responsibilities, and these women come together as a community understanding that they all will receive in an equal sense of what's due to them, and they cool with that. What tends to happen is a woman feels like she's losing her man to another woman, and that creates the controversy or the conflict. Not the controversy.
Everything you say is valid. However, I will say the difference, let's just say in these hypothetical situations, is in those different cultures, all those wives are on the same page.
That's not true. They're not always on the same page.
Okay, fair. I would say,
to my knowledge, you can share. And again, if I misspeak, I misspoke.
Right.
To my knowledge, they can.
You don't have to know.
As long as the man does what he's supposed to do. To my understanding, I'm not an expert on that.
All right, so I'll speak for the ones that are aware, and I would say the women that aren't in those cultures, they'd be like, no, because nigga, you was fucking her or married someone else. I didn't know about this. Like you said earlier, or earlier episodes, it's about the lie and the deceit about it.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think if men would just, honest, like within their approach. Like, look, I ain't monogamous, but you would never want for nothing. A woman could choose if she want to deal with it or not. What tends to happen is a man go into it trying to protect a woman's feelings, because another form of protection that people don't often talk about. Men will lie to protect a woman's feelings.
Shout out to Jody. Jody said that.
I feel like a woman would lie to protect herself. It's like in the perception of how you view her, and that's just to the world, not just to a man. Like, she would lie to herself to protect her image to herself. Where though a man might look at it like, damn, if I tell her I got my dick sucked and I ain't give a fuck, she not gonna believe it. She gonna think it's more than what it is. So I'm gonna just tell her I didn't. I'm more like on a tip now at this age, like, yo, you know what? If you want that, just say that. And if she decide not to deal with it, then just understand that it is women out here that's okay with that. It's some women out here that say, yo, you know what? Don't bring me no STDs. Don't bring me no babies. Don't bring me no lies. Don't have nobody approaching me. And do you, because they done been around the world and it's seen like, you know what? I've seen this to be a common trend. Now, some men choose monogamy and say, you know what? You're the only person I want to be with. But in more cases than not, the reason why it appears that, because women and men cheat the same amount, whereas the women might even cheat more frequent. It's just not as often talked about, because what man goes around saying I was cheated on? So the no barbershop talk is about how you got your heart broke, because you don't want to seem like a sucker ass nigga.
Hold your L in silence.
You hold it in silence, but that don't mean it's not happening. So I would just say, let's say it's equal.
So you would say it's equal?
I actually think they do more, but I'm gonna say it's equal, just for the sake of I have no proof to verify either side of it. So I'm gonna just say, let's just say it's equal. Even though it's equal, we act as if it's only a man dominant thing. Like, yeah, because these niggas be cheating, but I cheated with more women. Now, this was before I grew as a young. You know how many girls I slept with that had. So it's like, just because I would never expose what I did with you, these people would never. But it's like, I had to learn that now at this big age, I won't even dare. I'm not with that. Like, me personally, I just look at like somebody happy in a relationship. I said it on the prior episode. I'm not getting into that. Like, I'm not. Well, I'm in a relationship now, but I'm saying prior to me even being on one, I never was the guy that would fuck around with a girl that had a situation, because then that emotional shit come out and now you got a nigga hating you and all of this. And it's like, to me, I even tell you it's not worth it. Like, you got to understand what it's costing you to go at it. And it's like, if you feel like unless you about to marry her and you willing to really take her on, if you just trying to just infiltrate, don't do that, because it's ramifications that come behind that, and that's just not smart to me.
It definitely is. When I was younger, I definitely, not that I was into it, but it's like I didn't mind it more so.
We seen it differently.
Right. Now I'm older. It's like I said, it's just like you said, I understand the stakes differently. It's like, like, do you really want to take the worst case scenario of this? Is it really worth it? Whatever.
That's a good point. Putting the worst case scenario in perspective. And then just the last thing before I even pass it back to you, it just in regards to that, just understand when we was younger, we had less invested. So it was less to fight for. Like, if a woman just cheated on a man when she was 19 and 20 and all that, y'all exclusively dating and y'all in a little relationship. But when you get older, it's like y'all got kids together, y'all married, y'all building something. This actually affects your life. You view it differently than you do when you just in a boyfriend-girlfriend type of situation. So I think that as we get older, we start to see that as men, like, damn, I like what that dude is building. I'm not about to be the one to try to sabotage, not even because of what could happen, but just because I respect the process of somebody trying to build some great shit. I would never want to be the reason that shit crumble. That's some nut shit to me. In my personal opinion, all men don't got to see it like that, but that's just how I see it.